we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers first and what happened yesterday. Because all offseason long, it was, is he going to report? When is he going to report? Is he going to play for the Packers? I just want to say thank you very much, Aaron Rodgers, for reporting so we don't have to ask that question anymore. Here's what he said yesterday about his status with the team and them not using him as a full resource.
The organization looks at me and my job as just to play. In my opinion, based on what I've accomplished in this league, the way I care about my teammates, the way I show up in the locker room, the way I lead, the way I conduct myself in the community, it should tie myself to a little bit more input. The rules, are the same for most people, but every now and then there's some outliers, guys who've been in an organization for 17 years and won a few MVPs, where they can be in conversations at a different higher level. I'm not asking for anything that other great quarterbacks across the last few decades have not gotten. The opportunity to just be in conversation.
I should tie myself into a little bit more input, is what he had to say. It was honest, it was open, it was very transparent, very calculated and strategic, I think, too. But he was very calm and he was very pointed and poised as he talked for over a half hour yesterday. Mooch, when you were watching, what were you thinking?
Yeah, watch the whole thing. It was really interesting.
Riveting.
And I thought he was good. I thought he was good. And he did mention that he loves his teammates. And he loves this city, and he loves this team. And it seems like if there's any beef, and he loves the coaching staff. If there's a beef, it's with the front office, okay? It's a new front office than when he started with Ted Thompson and that bunch, okay? And really what I took from it with that last statement that we just heard was that he just wanted to be in the conversation, be heard, have an opinion, just listen to me. And I don't think he wants to run the draft. He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to be GM.
He doesn't want to be GM or president, and he doesn't want to do the research for all these college kids that we do preparing for the draft. But he wants to have an opinion about his own teammates. He mentioned Jordy Nelson. He did mention Randall Cobb. He did.
James Jones.
James Jones, we're going to talk to him a little bit later. He had 14 touchdowns one year, led the league here for Aaron Rodgers. But he just wants to have an opinion with the new front office that, hey, I love this guy. I have a good chemistry with this guy. Find a way to keep him another year. That's all. He wasn't. I don't think he was trying to run the show. I think he felt like after 16 years. Bart Starr was 16 years. Brett Favre was 16 years. Aaron Rodgers was 16 years. At least have a little clout or have a little voice in some of the free agent signings. He does know people on other teams that maybe he'd love to have. I remember when Brett Favre...
You just watched Tom Brady do it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I want Gronk. Okay, we'll get Gronk.
Yeah.
But I remember when Brett Favre tried to get Randy Moss here. It didn't work, but at least he stood on the table for him for a little bit, right?
Right.
But anyway, that's what he wants. He just wants to be heard. He wants to be in the conversation. I don't blame him.
You can't blame him at all, especially when these things are directly impacting his job, especially when he's been here for so long. And you think about all of the different moves that are being made, and of course, like, he's just going to go out and play. And yeah, he's not going to be out scouting, because who has the time for that besides actual scouts? But I don't understand or blame him why the organization wouldn't have conversations or loop him in on what is going on. Because I think anyone who's had a job in corporate America or really anywhere, when decisions are being made that impact you directly and you're not even kept in the conversation about it, it's sometimes that hurts, and that hurts the overall organization because things kind of fall through the cracks. And he knows this place better than anyone after being here for 16 seasons.
Yeah, and he knows the personnel on the team. That's his concern, is who's in our locker room and how do we have the best players that give us a chance to win. And when the front office has to make decisions on who to keep and who to acquire, he would just like to have a little say because he knows if he needs another receiver or another offensive lineman or hey, keep this guy in the team. He's good for the chemistry of this team. That doesn't show up in statistics.
Right. And sometimes that's even more important because it makes everything go on the field, what happens behind closed doors. And it seems like cutting Jay Kumaro was really the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, that cut really cut pretty deep with Aaron Rodgers because he mentioned it a few times.